It's Monday night, it's 9 o'clock GMT, and well, we're coming up to Monday Night Skippys round number 9, up next from Oulton Park. Join us in just a few moments.
When I sat in the car, you always wonder what's it going to feel like. You know, it was my first time driving a mid-engine GT car. You know, my thoughts were, wow, this is really good for our first time in a car. I was really surprised by you're sitting low, you got the A-pillars at steep angles, the windshield's at steep angles, you can see the fender flares. I think we have a chance to win. Everything's got to go right, but I think we have a car that can win the race or be on the podium. But can you imagine how cool that would be to go back 50 years later to the year and do it?
Welcome to Racebot TV, and Monday night is here, and well, it's Monday Night Skippys. We're back again. You had some guest commentators last week, but don't fear, the main crew is home. Myself and Connery Maddock, along with today Jack Styles as well, so you're joining us up here in the Racebot TV booth for tonight's action, also live on iRacing Live. We'll go to you first, Connery, on this one. Oulton Park is an old favourite, and it's a stomping ground of our man, Mr. Paul Thurston.
Yeah, it's an absolutely fantastic traditional British race circuit, and what an appropriate track for a British series it is. And it plays host to some fantastic racing over the years in the likes of the BTCC. But it plays host to the Skippy Lava cars for this round of the Monday Night Skippys. Qualifying is underway. We just got about a minute and 10 seconds to go. Currently, it is Clark Williams with provisional pole. Fantastic work from him.
It certainly is, as Connery appears to have been abducted by aliens. We'll come to Jack really quickly. Qualifying's looking tight. Clark Williams up top with Adcock, Davies, Dorning and Halliburton. Mercer just jumping himself up to the 5th spot. This track is narrow, it's twisting, it's quintessentially English, even though it's in Wales.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely English. Oulton Park has to be one of my favourite circuits in the UK. And if we look at the qualifying times, we're looking at times which aren't separated by much. Clark Williams at the top has got a 2/10 advantage over Stuart Adcock in 2nd place. But then we have 5 cars coming by 300ths of a second. So, Rachel, this is going to be a brilliant race today. We're going to see some very close racing around what is one of the greatest circuits in the UK.
Very much so. Hello to everybody watching at home as well. Qualifying's just had a bit of a few hiccups. There's a couple of cars crashed out on the racing circuit. We'll go through your starting order. Actually now, because, well, that is qualifying with the checkered flag. Clark Williams out front gets a great result for himself. First pole in quite a while. Stuart Adcock in 2nd place, with Davies in the 3rd spot. Gareth Dorning and Mark Mercer, your top 5. Behind them, Kane Halliburton, Bill Fraser, Robert Plumley, Andrew Leach, and Anthony Catt will be the cat with the cream in 10th place. Last car in your top 10. Behind them, Mick Watson, Jake Tucker, Steve Hefford, Ashley Blake Hood in 14th, Paul Thurston in 15th place. 16th place, Brian Loynes, Patrick Fairbanks, Neil Bontemps, Simon Maltby, and Tim Adcock in 20th. Rest of those positions coming up on your screen as we look at the time splits. 1 minute 44.966 was your pole. Where's our 1 second marker we like to gauge by? That's 19th place, between 19th and 20th in fact, Connery, as it is pretty darn close there. Top 20 in a second at a track like this is really impressive.
Yeah, it's a very, very close field indeed, and that's something we come to expect from this series, of course. A little bit shorter on numbers than we are usually. Usually get about a mid-50 amount of cars there. We're on about 35 set lap time right now, but yeah, qualifying is just coming towards the end because we have a 1 minute and 20 seconds. Everyone out there on circuit has at least one more lap to go if their lap is still valid, but as it is right now, it's going to be Clark Williams with one of his only pole positions there.
Yeah, very much so, and it'll be an impressive one for him. See what he can do with this race, as we're busy arguing whether it's in Cheshire or it's in Wales. It's close to the Welsh border, we'll go with that. It's England, technically. I was right the first time, as apparently my geography skills aren't at their foremost on a Monday night at 9 o'clock. But as we go, grid will happen in just a few moments' time. Our positions are in, and it's going to be interesting to see what people can manage with today's race. Looking at 13 laps around this racetrack, 2.69 miles. Weather conditions on the cool side, actually. We're looking at 65 Fahrenheit. Track at 68. Winds westerly, 8 miles an hour. Quite windy in Cheshire. Humidity, pretty average for British summer, but it's on the cool side. So that could definitely make this a grippy, very, very tight race.
Yeah, definitely could, and I think that cold track is definitely going to play into it because these cars, we've seen it before in the 2K World Cup, they do not have a lot of power, so they need as much grip as they can to get for the drivers to be able to wheel them through the corners as fast as possible. Obviously, Oulton Park, we do have some very interesting corners here. We've got downhill braking zones and then downhill camber corners coming through cascades, and also Shell Oil's corner, turn number 5, the hairpin right at the end. We are going. That is banked. It's almost like an oval, and we could see some interesting overtakes through many of these corners today.
We certainly could, indeed, as Connery coming to the last moment now. The grid's going to start, and this is an interesting one because the back of the grid's down almost at the last corner, round a corner and down a hill.
Yeah, exactly. It's basically a hill start for anyone in a roundabout from 22nd all the way down to what is going to be Jonathan Maycock in that 29th position. They're starting on the, well, the biggest incline coming up the pit straight here. Meanwhile, at the back of the grid, they're going slightly downhill and they'll have to run out the final corner. So this could be a very, very interesting start indeed.
Very much so as well. The grid will start to fill up now as we'll get ready to go once again. The track is, as we mentioned, quite tight and can be tricky for the drivers here today, but should be an exciting one, especially up front. Clark Williams, Stuart Adcock, Nathan Davies, Gareth Dorning, Mark Mercer. Will Mercer be back in the fight this time after having a couple of bad races since returning to the series? We'll see what he can manage in this one. UK&I's best Skippy drivers here will do battle once again, and it's fantastic to see some of the old war horses returning for this series. Just waiting for the green flag now to fly over the front stretch here at Oulton Park. Fantastic racing venue here. One of the English classics of courses we come to throughout the season, including of course Silverstone, Donington, and the green flag will fly. Quiet start by Clark Williams. Stuart Adcock getting a good run there. Everyone running single file for the first corner. No brave moves just yet. Everyone doing exactly what's expected of them as we'll look back through the pack as everyone filters through that first corner. No drama just yet. Fairbanks was side by side there with Brian Loynes for a moment as a couple of cars dropping past. As Doug Pickering moving back up from 26th place. He's passed 3 or 4 cars already. Big start for the Welsh driver. And it's going to be too wide, at least for the frontier race here, as Clark Williams and Stuart Adcock are side by side. There's nearly contact there. Oh, there was contact, as this has caused a huge fan there through the fast left-hander Connery. And that was Davies going into the back of Adcock there, sending him sideways a bit.
No, that was actually Clark Williams going into the back of Adcock. They're just pushing him a little bit round as they come through with that very, very fast left-hander. But Stuart Adcock manages to continue on his way. In fact, battling right now as they come over hilltops. They're going to actually, Stuart Adcock's going to back out the move coming down into what is going to be the Hislocks complex here. Side by side behind them, though, between Bill Fraser and Kane Halliburton. And Bill Fraser will come out on top in that particular battle. Put him up +1 on this lap here. As most of your front of your field is single file. Your battle behind, though, for for what is going to be one of the positions down your field outside the top 10. Andrew S. Leach and Clark Williams. Clark Williams has to surrender that position. Here comes Mick Watson on Anthony Catt, though.
He does, and, well, wasn't expecting it to be Nathan Davies out front. A big jump there by the Welshman, getting himself out front. Very difficult to tell between himself and Williams, both driving similar shades of green car there. Mark Mercer looking to the outside here for the final corner. Mercer looking to lead at the end of lap number 1. Has his nose up the inside there. Davies gets forced out onto the grass. Loses time. Adcock will come round him to the inside. Should be no contest there as Halliburton and Fraser tangle up there with Robert Plumley just behind his lead group. I believe we have a car in the pits, Jack. Can you give us anything on that? Is this Adcock moving to the inside here? Davies to attack on the run down to 3.
Yeah, the car in the pits look like it is the number 77 machine.
Oh, Mercer. Sorry, Jack. Mercer with a slingshot round the front there to the very lead of our motor race. Turn 3 was a bit of a blocking line there as Davies and Adcock both pushed wide and wobbled almost with similar wobbles. Not sure what happened to them, but Mark Mercer shotgunned through as 139. Gareth Dorning off the track with a big hit. We're going to replay what happened for you there, as Dorning was 3 wide in a nest of cars with himself, Robert Plumley and Bill Fraser. Clipped the side of Fraser's car. Fraser undamaged, but he spun off the track. Dorning with big problems there, Jack.
Yeah, that just looks like there wasn't enough room for Dorning to go through the middle there, and he tangled the car on the left, and that's it. He was round. These Skippys are very sensitive to touch. If you touch it, you're probably going to end up in a wall or at least round somewhere. So Gareth Dorning, he is out of this race, but I believe currently at the moment this battle for the lead is still going, and it is changing all the time. Mark Mercer being able to carry that lead. He was 3rd place last time across the line coming into that double apex corner coming through Druids, and it just shows, Rachel, that these cars, you're changing positions all the time. This series is close as we have the number 74 car, Scott Malcolm. He is round coming out of Knickerbrook by the looks of it.
Very, very much going to replay there of what just happened for you on your screens. As the very front of this race is Davies from, Mark Mercer, I should say, from Nathan Davies, from Stuart Adcock in the 3rd spot, Kane Halliburton 4th, Bill Fraser in 5th place. There's really a 5-car breakaway there as behind them we have Robert Plumley and Andrew Leach. Clark Williams, your pole sitter, back in the 8th position. Movers so far, Paul Thurston up 2 spots from 15th, Jake Tucker still in the 12th spot, but we're looking at Paul Thurston trying to make some moves here, but Maltby from behind is going to attack him from 14th place. He's up 5 spots at the moment. As we're getting a little bit of audio feedback, we do apologise, folks, as out front Mercer with Davies, Adcock behind him, and Halliburton really joining in this fight.
Yeah, definitely, in this lead battle is definitely trying to, everyone's just getting very close at the moment. We're seeing more and more cars spin, and it just looks like the 28 as well, which is...
Oh, he's around. Nathan Davies is around. Big incident coming over Hilltop.
Huge. Yeah, Hilltop, massive incident there. Mark Mercer clear out in the distance, but Davies comes over, squeezes the car of Stuart Adcock, who hits Kane Halliburton. Halliburton and Kane are Davies off the track there. Looks like Adcock continues, but he lost a lot of time and possible damage there for him as Bill Fraser's made his way through to 2nd place. This is completely changed the replay for you there, but very, very dramatic goings on.
Very, very dramatic indeed, and this has just meant that Mark Mercer has been able to get away a little bit at the front of the field. Bill Fraser, believe it or not, is going to be the driver that was in 5th place at the start of this lap, now promoted up to 2nd with that major incident coming down the back straight, so he will get that 2nd place coming across the line. Then it's going to be Stuart Adcock. He was lucky to avoid an even bigger incident than it was coming over Hilltops there with the 2 other cars that have been completely wrecked out this race. Stuart Adcock got away quite lucky and is still inside the podium positions here. It's going to be Robert Plumley, Andrew S. Leach, and Clark Williams as well, all further down the field. So this front is spreading out a little bit, but due to the draft effect of these Skippys, especially coming down that very long back straight, this could all close up very quickly.
Really could close up very, very quickly indeed at this stage, as the racing is incredibly tight at the moment. Up front, Mark Mercer has managed to get himself a decent gap here. Bill Fraser, Stuart Adcock there, separated the front quite reasonably, but it's a little bit further back. We have the action going off at the moment. Looking down towards the 17th position here, We've got Mark Redford in the midst of one here with Peter Van Gool, Alan Patterson, Brian Holmes, Barry West in that group. Otherwise, pretty quiet, although just ahead of Paul Thurston, we have Jack. We've got Jake Tucker, Anthony Catt and Steve Hefford here running line astern. As just up ahead of them, we're going to move by Clark Williams on Leach.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep an eye on this Jake Tucker battle. There's 3 cars all together. These guys are not being able to let go of each other. We're just seeing some 2-wide action coming down into the 7 and 8. And it just shows that these Skippys, as they do it again coming up towards Druids, this is probably one of the worst places to overtake at Oulton Park. This is probably one of the hardest corners. Oh, nearly lost it there from the number, I believe, let me just find out for you, that was Steve Hefford, the 72 car. They almost lost it. Kip Stevens just sitting there on the inside going slowly. But that just shows it is very hard to overtake here at Oulton Park. You have to take every opportunity as you can because it is not a very wide circuit. And I am sure that Anthony Catt in the number 19 will want that position back.
Looks very, very likely that he will, as this grouping here, Bill Fraser's come back to Stuart Adcock there for the 2nd and 3rd spot, and Plumley, Williams and Leach catching up to that 2nd group there. So Mark Mercer's gap is up to 1.7 seconds. He's looking fairly free at the front here right now, Connery. That car undamaged, unmolested from the multiple incidents we've seen, really kind of harrow the front pack of this race. Could be having a nice clean one today.
Yep, he is indeed, and that's quite unlike his race at Interlagos, where he was going 3 wide, 2 wide everywhere around the circuit at Interlagos, so he has a little bit clear air, which is unusual for Mark Mercer at the front of this field. Meanwhile, side-by-side racing behind him, though, between Stuart Adcock and Bill Fraser for P number 2. They're going to take it side-by-side across their hilltop. It's going to be Battle of the Lake Breakers coming down into the Hislop chicane, and also Robert Plumley may get himself involved here. Adcock will have the inside line for the first part of Hislops, but that advantage switches back to Bill Fraser, and he'll lead coming up into the entry to Knickerbrook.
He will, and Plumley gets a wiggle on, but he saves it there. Very nice save by Robert Plumley. Manages to hold on as Stuart Adcock once again looks at Bill Fraser to try and find a way around this one, as Mercer's gap has been dramatically widened this lap alone, as very sideways Clark Williams back there. The conditions, Jack, perhaps on the cool side, making this race a little faster than people expected. We're seeing a lot of loose cars.
Yeah, definitely, and I just don't think people are able to get the temperature and the tyres that they need to be able to get the grip. As we've just seen Jake Tucker manage to get through on Anthony Catt for P number 9. He's now going to challenge Steve Hefford for P number 8. But it just shows that these cars, you do need temperature in the tyres, you need all the grip you can get. And I just wonder whether people are pushing the cars too hard at the front just to try and get that extra bit of speed.
Absolutely are, as behind our distant leader with a 2.9 second lead, gained a second that last lap. It's pretty much a conga line as Bill Fraser leads that with Stuart Adcock, Clark Williams, Andrew Leach and Robert Plumley bringing up the rear there. Just behind that group, Mick Watson sitting pretty much on his own there, very lonely in his app-centric .nl machine. Seeing what he can do in this one as 13th and 14th place. We've got some action going on, including the likes of actually just up in front of the Steve Hefford runs wide in the hairpin, letting through the car of Jake Tucker. Anthony Catt also getting involved there as Paul Thurston and Darrell Taylor, teammates, are racing here. Sam might be about a second back from that group. He's fighting with Jonathan Maycock and Ashley Blake Hood here. That's going to be an interesting one, but looking back up to where Paul Thurston is, he's in 11th place right now, looking for a top 10. That'll be his goal here today, Connery. Oulton Park is a favourite of his. A top 10 result would be ideal in what so far has been a fantastic season for Thurston.
Yeah, he's got a couple of top 10s already, and he's just looking for that extra one. Just one more position to go for Paul Thurston before he's inside of that top 10 target that he always wants to get. And meanwhile, ahead of him, Steve Hefford and Jake Tucker still battling, coming through Druids, that was, but still not any gap for Steve Hefford to sling his car down the inside of. Will he go for a dive bomb coming into the final corner here of Lodge? But I don't think he's going to be too close enough to make that move. He'll just have to follow in single file behind coming through this final corner now, coming up onto lap number 7. It's going to be looking at the front of your field, though. This is going to be Stuart Adcock versus Bill Fraser into the first corner here, and Adcock will almost take the position on the inside line, but no, fantastic momentum for Bill Fraser around the outside, and this puts Stuart Adcock under threat from the likes of Clark Williams and Robert Plumley, and Williams and Plumley will go side by side through Cascades now, and it's very squirrely car for Robert Plumley on that inside line, trying to keep the traction down, but he's not going to be able to take the position, but he can set up the move here for the hairpin.
He certainly can, as Tucker was off the track back there, involved with Hefford and Co. He ran wide in turn number 3 there, completely overshot his corner, but for the time being it's going on as they wanted it to.
Oh, Cat's gone wide coming through turn number 4.
He has indeed. Cat, well, the Cat's in the litter right now as he rejoins in the middle of the apex. He gets right in front of Jonathan Maycock there, causing a bit of a stink, as I'm going to try and avoid any more cat-related puns, but ouch, that's one of the 9 lives is missing after that. I'm sorry I had to do it. Is it going to look like a 3 wide here down towards the chicane?
I don't think there's enough room for 3 wide down towards the chicane there, Rachel. I think Jake Tucker's just going to have to wait for his moment going down into 7, 8 and 9. And he's just going to do the sensible thing, sit patiently and wait for a move, maybe coming up to Druids. But I think just Anthony Cat running wide, I think that's just an unlucky mistake for him. Too much speed into turn number 4. The grip just wasn't there under the car, and yeah, he had nothing to do, but he is now going to be under pressure from Jake Tucker coming into Druids. They're going to go side by side, almost touch coming through there, but no contact luckily, and Anthony Cat is going to hold the position just for now, but Jake Tucker, I wouldn't be surprised to see him get past in the next few corners, maybe the next few laps. But these guys, close racing up at the front, and we're still seeing that battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th. It's definitely getting better.
Oh, it certainly is getting a lot better right now, as up front it's been a very good run there for Thurston Go. He's up to 9th place right now, moving on Hefford with teammate Darrell Taylor. Those two will be very, very happy with his progress. As we look at the conga involving Bill Fraser, Adcock, Williams, Plumley, Leach and Watson now, who's gaining slowly on this group. We can pretty much reject Mark Mercer from this conversation, Connery. He's 5.5 seconds away. He's having a wonderful time at the front of this field. He has to cruise and he's got this one in the bag, but the battle seems on for 2nd place.
Yeah, Mark Mercer basically doing a Tom Ward impression from last season, where Tom Ward just got to the front, just pulled a huge gap, and then just won most of the races in that season, and pretty much won it before, like 2 rounds before the end of the season. But that's not going to be the case here for P number 2, as defensive inside line it has to be for Bill Fraser, at least for the initial part of his laps. Here comes the run, though, from Stuart Adcock. Clark Williams will obviously be very close to behind. Will Stuart Adcock take the position? No, he locks up and has to surrender the position there back to Bill Fraser. He's going to try it, trying it behind, actually. That was Robert Plumley trying on the inside of Nickelbrook there on Clark Williams, and actually Andrew S. Leach is now thinking this is his time to go, as on the run up towards Druids now. It's going to be side by side for those 2 drivers. Will there be any more? There's also going to be Mick Watson behind that decides to get himself involved as well, coming up towards the entry to Druids, but they're all single file through there, and Plumley's going to get a good run off here, maybe sling it down the inside at Lodge Corner. He's going to go for the move, driver's right hand side for the inside line into Lodge, and see if he breaks it a little bit too early for my liking, but he's still on that inside line. Has to force Clark Williams out wide, and it's going to be side by side across the line.
It will be indeed, as they come through now onto the start-finish line here, and Plumley has the inside line, has the time, but it's going to be 3 wide there, as it looks like Andreas Leach throws himself into the mix. Plumley secures it in the first corner, as everyone gets past. Oh, big hit there with Leach. That was Watson and Leach. We'll get a replay for you of that, as well, Watson just drifts
Adcock
out,
and Fraser.
Big contact side on there, as Adcock and Fraser have got action going on right now. Bill Fraser holding on to that 2nd place, the lead of this 2nd pack, if you will, as they've pretty much lost Mark Mercer, 6.4 seconds now. It looks like Stuart Adcock is sick and tired of waiting. He wants to get through and try and go after Mercer.
Yeah, he definitely really wants to go after him at the moment, but he's not going to be able to, as Bill Fraser pushes wide coming out the hairpin. Lucky not to collect Stuart Adcock there in that little bit of a slide. He managed to save it, but it's going to be a huge run for Robert Plumley coming over the top of Hilltop now, and it's going to be past Stuart Adcock, and he can challenge for Bill Fraser coming down into his laps. He has to be very, very late on the brakes here to secure this inside line for the 2nd part of Hill's laps, but he does not, well, he just gets it. He gets 1 position, but not 2.
Absolutely does. It looks like round will go Plumley, trying to avoid the car of Bill Fraser, gets that position made, as Hancock's trying to follow him through here on the run towards the double right-hander apex coming up now, as Fraser gets forced to the wide, but Adcock can't find enough momentum on the narrow line there to get himself through. We'll have to drop back behind him. Plumley up to the 2nd place in this race. Could be looking for a podium in this one if things go his way. Adcock throws it at the inside there. Going to pull a Plumley from last time by on Bill Fraser. Holds the line on the inside, and this should be completed. Turn 1. Should he hold an overlap as they arrive at the corner? I don't think he will in time. but it's just enough to hold it tight. Can he wash out without hitting him? He does, but he loses momentum. Has to back out of the throttle there. Drops himself back into what will actually be 4th place here, as it looks like Clark Williams might actually make his way back through here. Your leader back up into the 5th place in this one. Nearly 9 seconds now for Mark Mercer. This battling has completely seen off any chance of catching him. But Robert Plumley up into that 2nd spot there, Jack. Doing fantastic in this one. Paul Thurston and Darrell Taylor still in 9th and 10th place. But there's nobody around them. They are in a very comfortable position here, 3 seconds back. Where it's Simon Maltby and Jake Tucker fighting pretty hard here, side by side. Into the hairpin. Maltby in the 12th spot. Gets himself past Tucker. Oh, contact! And Maltby gets a bit of a wiggle on. Gets a helping hand there from Tucker. Both survive though.
Yeah, I mean, Simon Maltby now has a little bit of rear end damage on that 16 car. But Robert Plumley in the 147 up in 2nd place. Brilliant drive from him. He is 6 places up from where he started. He's using the chances he's having to his advantage. And also for Paul Thurston and Darren Taylor, the 2 teammates as well, running 9th and 10th. That's brilliant for those two top 10 positions, hopefully for that team. They've still got 3 laps to survive though here at Oulton Park. But at the moment, the lead battle is starting to just fan out a bit. Clark Williams and Stuart Adcock are probably the closest 2 people in that group together. But a little bit further back, everyone's now starting to stretch out a bit. Although saying that, Steve Hereford has started to reach the rear end of Andrew Leach.
He has indeed, and we'll see what they can do with Andrew Leach, who's going to be fighting with Hereford very, very shortly. Mick Watson on the back of the train for this 2nd place fight with Clark Williams, Stuart Adcock, Bill Fraser, Robert Plumley. Plumley still holding out front there. In fact, has a good gap over Bill Fraser. Fraser looking a bit like a roadblock at times, Connery. Not to say he's slow, but Adcock is often a little faster than him, but can't seem to get past him. Fraser is dogged in his defensive driving.
Yeah, and to pull out a Murrayism here is one thing to catch a driver, it's a complete other thing to pass them, and that's exactly what is happening to the likes of Stuart Adcock right now, is he still can't find the gap anywhere in Bill Fraser's armour. Meanwhile, Robert Plumley's just been managing the gap at the front of this train here. He still hasn't lost the draft, well, in terms of the drivers behind him, but he's just managing that gap right now, just getting the entries, getting the apexes, getting the exits right, and then he's just going to be defending his position at the front of the field as they will catch up to him towards his lops, and it's going to be a little bit of a look from Stuart Adcock. He had a little bit of a think about throwing the dive bomb there. They're very, very deep on the brakes for Bill Fraser. Big slide coming through both the apexes. I hope his lops, and Stuart Adcock will help him around.
He does indeed. Big problem there. Replay for you now, as you'll see there, the wiggle Bill Fraser gets and just slows down in front of Adcock, gets spun out of the way, and Adcock manages to hold on. A 2nd close call he's had in the race so far. Bill Fraser, though, has lost a lot of momentum with that. He drops down your order quite considerably. Look at what drivers have done so far in this race. Big movers so far. Jonathan Maycock, 29th to 14th at the moment. 24th to 10th is Darrell Taylor. Huge run from him today. Do a cracking job with this one. As also we look at who we've got. Mark Redford, 30th to 20th, and 28th to 21st is Peter Cowan, making a quiet return in this race. But so far, things have been very, very gentle for Mark Mercer. Making that early breakaway, he's had a very, very quiet time. 9.9 seconds for him is the lead now on lap 12 of 13. It's going to be over in very short order, and a win finally for Mark Mercer on his return is looking on the cards. Touch wood. We'll hope he has no problems in this one, as Connery behind them. Plumley has a bit of a gap, but it's now Adcock and Williams who will be in the fight.
Yep, and they look to go maybe too wide coming through the hairpin corner, but it's just not going to happen there, as Clark Williams has to look for a good run off the corner now, and he does get that good run off, and he's going to just sit in the slipstream here. It was kind of an equalized run, but he's going to move to driver's left-hand side, which is the preferred line to try and overtake here coming down into his lops, because the first apex is relatively quick, and then you are on the inside line for the second apex. As actually Clark Williams will get it done on the brakes, or will he? Left the gap there for Stuart Adcock to reply if he needed, and actually Adcock tags the back of Clark Williams coming up towards Knickerbrook. Almost a mirror incident that we saw with Bill Fraser just one lap ago, and now Clark Williams has to defend from Mick Watson coming up the hill.
He does, as Mick Watson's going to try and make a move here on the outside, and should he hold it, we'll have the inside now for the next sequence. But it's going to be momentum carrying Clark Williams round the outside in a defensive move there, which will see him very, very well. We're coming on to the last lap now. Mark Mercer will come across the line here. One final time around for Mark Mercer, and he will be back in the halls of the winners in Monday Night Skippies. It'll be a fantastic result for him. Robert Plumley looking like he's going to have second place in this one, as the battle now will come down to the third place. Mick Watson, Clark Williams, Stuart Adcock now fighting away this one. Steve Hefford up into the 6th spot with Andrew S. Leach behind him. Will they make a move? We'll see. Bill Fraser struggling to regain time, has dropped back behind Darrell Taylor and Paul Thurston, moving the pair of them to 8th and 9th as we go. Exactly where they would want to be in this race, but for now it's focusing on Clark Williams and Stuart Adcock. The fight is intensifying and Mick Watson wants to be involved. Jack?
Yeah, he definitely does. He's just sitting there in 5th, waiting for something to happen between the two. He knows that the 38, or the 98, sorry, has got wing damage, so he is going to have less drag down the straights, lower top speed, but he's currently sat in the draft of Stuart Adcock in 3rd position. Going to move to the left-hand side, coming down into Knickerbrook, turn number 7, up towards Hislop. Hislop and Knickerbrook, he's going to try and do the same thing, go round the outside. They're going to go 2 by 2 into that, and oh, he's bailed on the chicane, Rachel. He's going to drop behind. Yeah, he is off. He's down to 5th. But look at this, is the 72 going to go up the inside of the 666 of Mick Watson. Mick Watson's just going to hold that position for now, but the 72 of Steve Hefford, he's trying to get past. He's definitely trying, but and Andrew Leach is on his tail. We've got a full fight for 3rd here now.
We certainly do, and that's definitely making things a bit more interesting than it has been so far, as now they'll come through up our hill towards the final end of the lap, and Mark Mercer comes across the line with the win. 2nd place, Robert Plumley will be secured, and Stuart Adcock looks set to hold on for the 3rd spot right behind him. Not quite close enough for Mick Watson, as behind them, side by side, it will be Andrew S. Leach and Steve Hefford, and Hefford takes it. Nice move there by Steve Hefford. Paul Thurston and Darrell Taylor split by Clark Williams in the end. Williams just holding on for 8th place, Connery.
Yep, exactly, as most of your finishers have come across the line right now. We're just waiting for a few drivers at the back of the field to get themselves across the line, but it doesn't look like there's going to be any closer battles, except for maybe the one for what is 25th place right now between Gareth Dorning and Neil Bontemps. He's getting the draft all the way down the back straight here, but he's just going to back way out of the move coming down into his lobs, and I think this one is just settled now.
Certainly has been settled by this point, and well, we are now waiting for the end of your results. We'll get those for you now. Coming home with a win, first time since his return to the series, Mark Mercer wins at Oulton Park. Robert Plumley in 2nd place, to Clark Williams, Stuart Adcock in 3rd, Mick Watson in the 4th place, to Steve Hefford in 5th, top 5 for him. Andrew Leach, Paul Thurston, Clark Williams, Darrell Taylor, and Bill Fraser in your 10th spot. Good results from them. Behind that, Jake Tucker, Anthony Catt, Ashley Blakehood, Simon Maltby, Peter Van Gool, Jonathan Maycock, Barry West, Doug Pickering, Mark Redford, and Patrick Fairbanks. The rest of those results will be on your screen, and well, that has been absolutely fantastic. We'll wait for just a few moments, folks. In fact, we'll go to a quick commercial break. Do not step away. We'll be back with post-race interviews in a few seconds' time.
I actually, really enjoy dirt racing. Feels good to get in the car, and we have, great cars and engines and things at KKR, so it's nice to drive a fast sprint car.
Couple of separate lines developing, 3 wide action on a turn 2. Craig Kinzer, Casey Kane, and Kieran Pittman go get it.
I think the differences between, NASCAR and the sprint races on dirt is just a much different mindset. The way you drive your cars, the setup, the feel you're looking for. I think one of the hardest things to tell as a fan is when you're watching a race, whether it's a NASCAR race, a dirt race, is just what's really going on in the car. with iRacing, you can get the way that the track's changing, which they've done a great job in how the track changes throughout the night or throughout the race, just to try to capture it and let the fans play it and realize, like, man, there's actually a lot going on, and you can't always see that when you watch a race. So I think it's pretty neat. It's, you know, enjoyable for me, but at the end of the day, it's actually much of a simulation, and there's a lot of ways that you can learn from that. And, you know, early on, it was neat to look at the Cup tracks that I was going to, places that I had never been. So I think it kind of gives you a head start leading into a weekend. It's pretty real life, and that's pretty neat.
Oh, here we go. Oh.
Welcome back live here to post-race coverage of Monday Night Skippys, and hopefully Mr. Plumley will be a little quieter for a moment whilst we just go back to live intro. As well, there you go. See, he doesn't want to be quiet at all. But anyway, as post-race interviews time. The only man from the podium to come join us is Mr. Plumley himself. Fantastic run there, Robert, at the end. Managing to be the best of the rest in that pack that just tried to follow Mark Mercer but couldn't quite hold on. Tough run there to get second.
Yeah, very happy with it. I was following the two guys behind me, Stuart and I think, was it Mick at the time? Or Clark, actually, I think it was. And they seemed to be trying to kill each other. So it's just trying to sit behind those and follow them round. With them battling, Mark obviously pulled away. And then I had an error, which dropped me down to the back of that small pack, down to 6th place, I think. And then I got a run on one of the cars in to get me up to 4th. And then the other two guys seemed to be going really slowly down the back straight into the chicane. I just went straight past both of them. Not sure why they're so slow or how I got such a good run out of there, but yeah, I'll take it.
Well, fantastic result for you there in the end, and good points in your fight this season in the championship standings. Congratulations for you coming in 2nd place. Anybody you'd like to thank?
Just my teammate, Matty Cox. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it in tonight. He missed out on the good slot. He couldn't get in time. So, yeah, we'll keep moving onwards.
Well, thanks for joining us, Robert Plumley there, coming home in 2nd place today.
Thank you.
Well, next up, we've got our next highest finisher. Paul Thurston today came home in 7th place and continuing a run of great results this season. Paul, you've got to be happy with that.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was 8th last week, 7th this week. I'm working my way up.
Of course, Oulton Park, one of your favourite tracks you've said to us in the past. Did you expect a good result coming into this one?
It's one of my favourite tracks. I absolutely love it here, but it does owe me a bit of luck, in truth. I tend not to have much fortune here. I either go off on my own or get hit, or hit someone else. But this week, I've got no practice at all because my race rig's been dismantled all week. And so put it back together yesterday evening. So I was hoping everything would work, and it did, which was fine. But I just seem to find little bit of pace in this layout. I don't know why. I think I'm normally not so good at the ones with the little fiddly slow corners, but it just worked. You know, I found a little tweak on the setup as well, which helped, which I gave to the guys as well, to Darryl and Baz, and it seemed to help them as well. It helped us find a bit of consistency and race pace. And then I got caught. I just started to pick up places when people went off, and I was in this great little. We caught up to this little battle bit with Steve Hefford and a couple of others, and then one by one they fell off. I was just left with Steve. So it was Steve, me, and Darryl, and we thought, okay, let's sit back here a little bit and just see if we can get up to the next guys. And that worked nicely. I I wasn't going to get past Steve, I don't think. I think he's just that bit quicker. But then again, a couple more people fell off, and 7th is the result. Thank you very much. I will have that.
Well, fantastic result for you, and well, thanks for joining us, Mr. Thurston. We'll also be joined now by your teammate Barry West, who started today in 25th, finished in 17th. Not quite as fantastic as your two teammates, Barry, but still a great result today, considering you've had some bad luck this season.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. Seeing like Paul, I didn't have any practice at all whatsoever. In fact, I only turned the wheel about an hour ago. I've been off for 3 weeks, so yeah, I'm pretty rusty. So qualifying wasn't too clever. A little bit more in qualifying. I think that a 0.4 I could have got if I'd have got a decent lap, but without a tow, it wasn't too bad. Pleased with 25th. And then at the start, it got a bit manic back there. I just got mugged being a bit too careful, but then again I probably survived, so I just settled in and just watched them in front, and then just kept the pace, and then gradually a few of them fell off. Alan Patterson got past, and then I think there was about 8 seconds to the one in front of him, which we managed to pull back a bit, but kept a constant 3 seconds to Alan, and then he made a mistake. I think he grabbed the wrong gear and spun just before the end, so yeah, that gave me that place as well. So yeah, without anybody else around me, it was quite a, you know, to focus on the place, all the apexes and that, but it was yeah, it was a fun race at the beginning. It was certainly manic. I got mugged a few times there, but I'm pleased with all 3 bananas getting in the points. That's good. We almost become a bunch.
There you go, the Banana Bunch doing a great one today, and well, congratulations to all of you. Last comments before we finish this one up, Jack. A great race here in the Cheshire countryside.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen some great racing, some close racing as well from everyone out there. Fully deserved win by Mark Mercy. He won that by about 11 seconds. So it just shows that maybe if you can break that draft, the people behind them can't keep up, but also just how close the racing in this series is. It is brilliant to watch. I have thoroughly enjoyed coming in and commentating on this, and it's just a case of people, as long as people can keep it on the track, actually, the shenanigans ahead will probably give you even more positions. As Paul found out, he moved up the order, mostly not by overtaking, but instead by just picking off people as they fall out and fall behind and make mistakes. So yeah, brilliant race, very close racing, very exciting racing. It was very intense to watch.
Cindy Wiles, well, thank you for joining us today, Jack. And well, for you at home, folks, don't forget you can join us same time next week for round number 10. This championship coming to a very, very exciting end. And well, things are looking interesting. We'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.